obviously we began seeing use this information that something went wrong, that something happened. And then is when I found out that our teams were target. And then obviously we found out that was beyond being target. That was members that died. We then had all the information, obviously, in the first minutes and hours, but very clear. The situation began being very obvious when we began seeing images of these bodies and these passports in the hospital that confirm these were our people. At the end is what we know, what everybody knows, that 17 members between the specialty security people we have, 3 British individuals and 3 international crew plus 1 Palestinian, that they were target systematically, car by car, 7 people dead. But there are 7 on top of a list of more than another 190 humanitarian workers that they've been killed over the last 6 months. This happened over more than 1.5, 1.8 kilometers. So this was not just a bad luck situation where, we dropped the bomb in the wrong place, or no, this was over 1.5, 1.8 kilometers with a very defined humanitarian convoy that had signs in the top, in the roof, a very colorful logo that we are obviously very proud of, but that's very clear who we are and what.
All right, guys. So as you saw, Chef Jose Andres, he's talking about the recent attack by Israel IDF on his humanitarian organization that he has to provide aid to Gaza, and how his convoy was attacked by IDF, and based on the description that he has given, this looks like a very targeted attack. It looks like it was calculated and it was purposely done. So let's read this from Daily Mail. White House on Wednesday refused to say if Israel would face any consequences from its chief ally, the U.S., amid fury over the strike that took out an aid convoy and killed 7 relief workers from World Central Kitchen. World Central Kitchen is Mr. Jose Andreas's organization that he provides aid. Andreas, in a new interview, said the IDF targeted aid workers systematically, car by car, which is true. And for anybody who says otherwise, it's not real, because their cars are specifically marked with specific logos that shows that these are aid vehicles, and and they have certain movements at certain times. So I think they have a schedule they follow, so they're not really random movements. So they know exactly where these people are. He said the IDF knew his aid workers' movements in advance of their ill-fated trip inside Gaza. This was not a bad luck situation where, we dropped the bomb in the wrong place. Which, again, Israel came out and said today that, the attack on the Iranian consulate was a mistake. We were doing our investigations internally to figure out what happened. This was definitely a mistake and was not intentional, which is bullshit. There's nothing they do is not intentional, and I've said this many times. Israel is like a spoiled child who does not get disciplined. And who doesn't discipline them? United States and the current administration. And I know, people, Trump loves Israel, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Trump loves Israel or protects Israel, but also tells Israel not to step over the line. Israel needs to be disciplined. Israel does these little attacks and there's no consequences for their action. So this is not part of them protecting their borders. This is now they are inside Palestine and, attacking aid workers. Okay. In any war that, you are part of, I was part of an 80-year war, and aid was one thing that was never attacked. And if it was attacked, then, it had very, very big consequences. And Israel, now it's going to go into defense mode because of what they are doing. They are now attacking aid workers. They have attacked Iranian consulate, which killed Iranians and American. I don't know if it was Americans, but Iranians and Syrians. Um, but now Israel is gonna face attacks from Lebanon. It's gonna face attack from Syria. It's gonna face attack possibly from Gaza. But let's continue reading. This was over a 1.5, 1.8 kilometer with a very defined humanitarian convoy that had signs in the top and the roof, a very colorful logo that we are obviously very proud of. He said it's very clear who we are and what we do. Even if we were not in coordination with the Israel Defense Force, no democratic country and no military can be targeting civilians and humanitarians, he told Reuters. And after penning an op-ed where he declared food is not weapon of war, um, which is true. But IDF will come out and say that we had reporting that these convoys are being used to smuggle in weapons and ammunition. That's going to be the only one and only defense that they will have, but they will never really reveal their sources of how this information come about because it's a secret information and blah 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 blah, all that stuff. The White House press secretary Cringe Jean-Pierre, the affirmative action press secretary, refused to reveal any consequences to Israel, who relies on U.S. for an annual $3.3 billion, guys, $3.3 billion a year in military aid. We've having conversations with Israel. We've been very clear about that. Okay, the conversation doesn't work. What are the consequences for Israel doing these kind of stuff? You need to give us the details of the consequences Israel is going to feel. Are you going to slash their military budget? Are you going to withhold aid? What are you going to do? Those conversations have been tough. If you don't stop this, you're going to go to timeout. We've been very public about those conversations on this particular incident. There will be an investigation, she said, pointing to an internal Israeli probe that the administration called for. The president has said he wants to be swift, he wants it to be comprehensive, and he is there to seek accountability, to bring accountability. She referred repeatedly to Biden's strongly worded written statement Tuesday, although Biden did not speak publicly about the region during healthcare themed remark as the White House Wednesday. So, what does this mean? It means nothing. It means Israel can carry out its attack continuously without any consequences. Because Biden's words mean nothing, Cringe Jean-Pierre's word means nothing because she continuously lies. She is one of the worst press secretaries I've ever met. Not personally, but on TV, or I've seen. This is a DI hired press secretary, so garbage from the get-go. She's terrible. She is terrible at her job. But again, going back to the subject, Israel will never face consequences for these attacks. They will continue doing these attacks. Maybe they're gonna put a little pause into these attacks because they don't want to make it look as sequential or targeted or whatever it is. So they're gonna put a pause to it. They're gonna let aid go in, and so on and so forth. But again, is Israel going to face consequences for their action? No, because that's how the Biden administration works. And people, if you're gonna say, "Oh, Trump loves Israel," yeah, he likes Israel, but Trump also held Israel accountable for anything that they did, which put them Actually, what I'm trying to say, if Israel stepped over the line, then there were consequences. But with this administration, there's no consequences. So, to those who voted for Biden, thank you very much for doing so. Please continue doing that. Please continue to vote for Biden. Voting for Biden continues to fund contracting companies who build missiles to provide aid to Israel and other countries to continue at war for death and destruction. So that is a plus for the U.S. economy. That is a plus for the American voters who vote for this kind of administration. because as long as there's war, there's money. As long as there's war, the Democrats will thrive because that's what they are in for. They are in for war. They are pro war, and most of Republicans are the same. So, um, for these lobbyist politicians, whoever that supports the war in Israel and in Ukraine, please continue to vote for these guys because you are the person wanting to for these wars to continue. So, if you are proud of yourself for voting Democrat, continue to do so. You are voting for the destruction and death of other people because that's what Democrats do mostly. If you go back to Iraq war, it was the Democrats who pushed the weapons of mass destruction, which were never there. They're the one that pushed it. Um, uh, the Iran-Iraq war, Democrats. The overthrowing of Shah, Democrats. The destruction of Libya, Democrats. The destruction of um, why am I doing? Oh, Afghanistan, Democrats. The destruction of any country is Democrats. Go back and look at all the wars that we've had. Democrats pushed it all. So if you voting Democrat, thank you. You are one of the best voters we've ever seen. So continue to vote Democrat and continue this death and destruction in the world and keep up the agenda, guys.